welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy. Today we're going to be talking about a Scotch, a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. This is Deanston. There you go. It's in a virgin oak. It is 46.3% alcohol by volume. It is a product of Scotland. There we go. It is unchill filtered and finished in virgin oak casks. Now, built on a river. Okay. So I do not recall any kind of information talking about if there's any color added in this bottle, but it is virgin oak. It doesn't say whether it's toasted or, charred, but in that case, in order to get that color, you're gonna have to add some color. Let's go ahead and get a pour on. Ooh. Now, Mr. Randy has not quite decided what he feels about Highland Scotch. Oh, that's a little much. But do understand, laterally, the Highlands have more distilleries spread out. So there's a great variation. And then they add their own little, little twists and little specialness to it so that it gets different than any other ones that are out there. There we go. That's a pretty nice looking deeper color. Yeah, there's definitely color added in that. But let's break out Mr. Randy's handy dandy whiskey color scale. Off camera, it's going to turn into, I'm going to say it's going to be a deep brown. I'm going to peg it right there at deep brown. So this was $40, just under $40 for Mr. Randy out the door. Pretty nice for a 46.3 oaked Highland Scotch. Now the nose has like a deep dankness. Yeah, that's what pops in my head when I smell that character, deep dankness. There's a slight sour sweetness. It's kind of weird, but it's not bad. It's actually very interesting, and I think I like it. It's got an oaky. Yeah, that virgin oak, it's definitely going to leach out a lot of oak. So it's definitely got a strong oakness to it. Let's get it on the palate. That's weird. The palate has this like sickly sweet sourness to it. It's kind of odd. Maybe I need to figure out another word for that. But that's just what comes to my mind, is that is like a sickly sweet sourness. Not bad, just kind of weird. It's got spice. But it's still beautiful, still nice. Now this was a recommendation, again, from my whiskey bro, Mad Mick. He does pick some good ones. He says he really likes this. I mean, he's not like in love with it, but he says, for like a baseline Scotch, he says this is good. I tend to agree. So let's get a finish on this, and then we'll move on. I'm sorry, that was a bit much for a finish. I think I poured too much. Now the finish hits your tip of your tongue. Whew, it's tearing the tip up. And it moves. I got some roof of the mouth and like the middle of the tongue, side to side. Hasn't hit the back. Oh, it's hitting the sides. Ooh, oh yeah, I remember. It does. It hits the sides, the cheeks. And it made its way up under the lips now. Nice. That has a nice finish. The finish is a little bit of spice, followed by some sweetness, and a little tiny bit of sourness on the back end. That might be my acid reflux kicking in, but I don't feel it on the back of the throat, the top, where your esophagus. So I tend to favor the former. But my cheeks are still kind of numb. That's kind of nice. So I'm still kind of messing around in the Highlands trying to figure out, because there's so many variations in the Highlands. So much more so than the lowlands. But let's just take a look at the Speyside for a second. They have less, but more concentrated area, so they all kind of have the same characteristics with few variations between them. Like I said, with the Highlands, they're lateral. They have like a lateral deal where like they have highs, lows, elevations, ups and downs, moistures, temperatures, all those things vary and fluctuate through the year so vastly that the Highlands can produce a wide variety of different types of Scotch. But every Islay, except for the Bunnahabhain, have basically the same characteristics, and they taste the same. They may be a little better, a little different, and a little whatever, but they're all kind of the same type. So when I say an Islay, you know what I'm talking about. If I say a Speyside, you kind of know what I'm talking about. If I say a lowland, yeah, there's a little variation, but not a whole lot. But if I say a Highland, you're going to have to be more specific, right? So let's move on. So my score on this, it is a $40 bottle. It is not too relatively available, actually. I did only find this on one shelf. I found it on a different shelf of a different store, but that was long ago. Didn't pay no mind because I was kind of, you know, I looked at that label and I was like, eh. But I've changed my mind. So it being $40, it being 46.3, it being a pretty good baseline Scotch, my score is going to be a solid 4 out of 5. I'm going to give this a solid 4 out of 5. It is a good baseline Scotch. Thank you, Mickey. My fair price, I'm going to leave it alone at 40. I think it's pretty good for the price. Definitely good for the price. And I got to say, one thing about that 46.3%, it does not hit like a 46.3. Even though some of the descriptions I've given you about the tongue and the tingling, it still, for the most part, does not hit like a 46.3. Would I buy this again? Sure, I'd buy this again. Actually, I do intend to buy this again because, as I said, and as Mickey said, it is a good baseline Scotch. It's good to have in your arsenal, on your shelf, and as Ralphie says, you got to put one of these in your stash. Do you have a stash? Let us know in the comments. And as always, thank you for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy. You have a good one.